Hello, and welcome back to AdamBobrowConnect, the channel where you email me and we connect. Time for an email. First of all, I hope you can read this, Adam. I've been losing the service and receiving game for a long time. Do you have suggestions and tips to help? Are there any requirements or any specific contact points or angles of the racket? If there are, can I request tips and tricks in the service and receive game? Thank you. Awesome. Yeah, this is the most important part of the game. So let's start with serves. With serves, generally, you want to contact the ball at about the height of the net. If you contact it way too high, let's say twice the height of the net, it's tough to keep the ball low. Like if you drop something, it's naturally going to bounce higher if you drop it from higher. So same with your service contact. If you contact it from lower, it's tougher to make it bounce up really high. And generally, when you watch the pros, they try to serve the ball as low to the net as possible, almost exclusively, almost every time. And the reason is, they want to make it difficult for their opponent to attack, and they also want to earn themselves the opening attack. So usually when you serve, your real idea is to set up a good third ball attack. If you like your forehand, maybe setting up your forehand attack is the best way to go. For players that really like their backhand, sometimes they'll serve from the backhand side just to set up that backhand opening or be in a better position. In terms of the grip of the racket, when you serve, it's important to loosen up your grip, generally speaking. You'll see a lot of players take their last 3 fingers off the racket, off the handle, when they're holding the racket, just so that they can get more wrist action, which means they can generate more racket speed and therefore more spin or speed on the ball. But usually it's about spin. After all, the majority of serves at the professional level, like 80% of the time, typically, players are serving half long, meaning a ball where the receiver can't tell if they should wait and try to attack it, or if they should move in early to receive it in a push or a defensive way and try to keep it short. So, practicing half-long serves that are low to the net, very important. Get that second bounce right near the white line or the back edge of the table. It could be the side edge as well. I guess the whole point is to cause hesitation so that a player does wait, and when they wait, they don't have as good of options. So if they try to attack, even if the ball comes off the table a little bit, it's going to be very uncomfortable for them to make just the right contact with the swing, because they're going to be too close to the table. We call that a finger breaker, sometimes a racket breaker in England and other parts of the world. And if they decide to push, but they've hesitated, it's very difficult to keep the ball short when you play a defensive shot or a push shot from the baseline of the table. After all, it has to travel so far just to get to the net if you're at the back of the table, so that momentum would make the ball carry, and therefore would be easier for the server to attack. Let's see, on the receive game, similar, I would say keep the racket very loose in your grip. The harder you grip the racket, the tighter you grip it, the more the ball's going to bounce. So, 2 advantages of that loose grip. 1, you'll be able to play a soft shot or a touch shot much easier. There's going to be, you can just absorb some of the bounce or the shock when it comes into the racket, so that loose grip will make the ball much more delicate and easy to keep short. Second of all, if you decide that you want to attack it or flick, you're going to be able to get more racket speed with a loose grip because it's more like a whip and less like a stick. So you'll, just generate more racket speed that way. I think practicing serve and receive is very important. So the more you do it, the better you'll get at it, but practice it with intention. When you serve, be very clear on what you want to happen, what you expect to happen, and what's most likely based on who your opponent is. Certain serves are incredibly effective against certain opponents, but then you play somebody else who has no trouble with them. There are some serves, I think this is basically the goal of any player, is to be able to identify what the receiver is having trouble with. So maybe you serve long topspin to the backhand, and your opponent has a lot of trouble with it, but the next opponent has no trouble with it. Sometimes your spinniest serve doesn't bother your opponent, and serving with less spin or a little bit shorter, or just the opposite, serving longer, just paying attention to what bothers your opponent and not being afraid to try anything that seems like it might be worth a shot. That's important. So stick with what you think will work from the beginning, and if it doesn't work, don't be afraid to switch. I think, what do they say? Insanity is doing the same thing, performing the same action, but expecting different results. So if something's not working, change it up. And that's basically what the best players in the world do. Ma Long, we've seen him adapt his game however he has to. He has a lot of tricks that work very well, and a lot of it is not even tricks, so to speak, but just very well-earned hard skills that have been developed over years and years and, countless thousands of hours of practice. So practice a lot. The good news is you don't need an opponent to practice your serve. I've seen pros in the practice hall with bags of balls for half an hour, sitting just practicing, trying to get that second bounce right on the baseline, right at the corner, and trying to keep it low to the net. You'll know when it's too high. And remember, try to serve it from about net height. Keep a loose grip on your serve. And in the receive game, don't be afraid to receive for an opponent. Someone who's there with the bag of balls, maybe if they don't want to see where the ball bounces. If they do, they'll tell you. They'll say, no thanks, I'm good. But sometimes they just don't want to have to go pick up the balls on the other side of the table. And it's a good opportunity for you to get some free receives in. I think one of my very first professional tournaments, the Korea Open in 2014, I saw Alexei Livantsov from Team Russia serving, and I was a fan of his. I had seen him play in the World Championships over the years and play against some of my favorites. And I asked him, I said, hey, do you need someone to receive your serves? He said, okay. And I was like, awesome, this is my chance to receive from a pro. And it was such good practice. So when you're receiving, have the same clear intention. My goal is to play it short and low. 2 bounces on the table, low over the net. And then occasionally maybe a long push. My goal is to flip or flick to attack from inside the table. Just be specific, see how it goes, see what works, see what doesn't, and same thing when you play events. So hopefully that helps you in your games and your matches. Clear focus in your practice, loose grip, and don't be afraid to mix it up. All right, I hope that's helpful. And if you have any questions, anything you want to know, table tennis or otherwise, send in your questions and hopefully I'll be able to respond. You can email me at AdamBobrowConnect@gmail.com, and I look forward to hearing from you. So take care, surround yourself with the ones you love, and as always, keep on ponging. Peace.